And hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stuart Vine. Welcome to episode 6 of the newly named NXT Takeover Rewind. And this is an episode we're going to talk about NXT Takeover Unstoppable. And as you can see again, obviously Angel Penny is back again to talk about more NXT. And talk about a card that it's an interesting card. I think that's maybe a nice way of saying it. So NXT Takeover. Obviously, what you think about this card when we're looking back? Like, were you a bit of a fan? Have you been a bit like, has there been bad memories for you?
Not bad memories. More so, I felt like this show was a filler takeover event in that it doesn't live up to what so many of us have been spoiled. You see, I'm going to be honest. Some of us have been spoiled by great takeovers, but this one felt like filler because they already started migrating some of the talent to Raw and SmackDown. You know, Sami Zayn, his whole injury angle because he got hurt wrestling John Cena on Monday Night Raw. Kevin Owens showing up and stomping on the belt. John Cena. It just feels like, let's take our two top guys and have them interact with Cena. Let's see what happens. What everyone was already expecting. Oh, Charlotte, she's in a tag match. That's because she's going to the main roster eventually. I will say, this card doesn't live up to what we come to expect from takeovers, but I will also admit that when you look at the sheer talent on this card, you go, yeah, I mean, am I judging this because I know how tremendous so many of these talents are? So I have to be lenient in my criticisms. And my criticisms pretty much fall between matches 3 through 6. So I'm good with our opener. And I'm good with our closer because our closer, our main event here, wasn't really meant to be a match. It was meant to be a gateway portal for someone else to debut. And that's the tease for all of you.
Yeah, and what a debut. It was a bit weird, the main event, I've got to be honest, because obviously, we'll talk about it also later on in the podcast, but yeah, that was a weird, mate. To use a main event to try and tease just to get someone to debut, it's an interesting choice. But yeah. So I guess one way to start is obviously start with the opening contest. Was the another number one contendership match? And another one that involves Finn Bálor. So take that what you will. For number one contendership for the NXT Championship.
Well, Let's acknowledge this is a Finn Bálor who finally figured out how to do the entrance and make it work the right way with the music. Because that was my first thing. I was like, okay, you're hitting all the spots and you're this is where he's getting the rhythm of how to enter the venue as the Demon. I'm like, okay, we're good. We're good. I mean, it peaks when, Takeover, when they did it in the UK and he comes out with the chainsaw. I was like, oh, I can't wait to get to that Takeover.
It's quite soon.
I know.
On our journey, it's going to be good.
I can't wait for that, but very good opening match. I'm going to say my only issue with it is that it's immediately following Finn having had an unsuccessful challenge at Kevin Owens. And because, if you remember, we had talked about Finn versus Neville, right? They were at the last takeover tournament finals to see who will be number one contender, right, for KO. And then they do KO and Finn on a regular NXT, and Finn's, he doesn't walk away with the title. And so I was somewhat bothered by that because I really feel I would have liked a better developed path for Finn to Kevin Owens. I understand why they did it. But I do like the fact they gave Tyler Breeze a chance to shine. And by the way, here's a nice little callback to our previous episode. Who is coming out for Tyler Breeze's entrance, leading all the girls with the camera phones? That's right. It is Liv Morgan. She has been rewarded for jumping the barricade and trying to kiss up Tyler Breeze. She is now a camera phone girl for Tyler Breeze. Do not tell me that bad behavior doesn't pay off. It paid off for her.
Is it really sad? I didn't notice that. I didn't notice
come
that.
on.
I didn't notice
She was there. Dasha Fuentes was there. There was one other talent that I'm not recalling right now. There were 4 women who came out. 3 of them, I was like, okay, I remember this person. I know what they did. And Liv Morgan was the first one. Triple H didn't think I would catch it, but I did.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know. It must have been. I don't know what I was doing. Must have been doing something else. Didn't pay attention.
Again, you are a much better, more focused person than I. You know, the minute something attractive walked down the ramp, I was like, hey, what's happening? It's fine. It's fine.
But fair enough. But one thing we should point out with this match is it was supposed to be a triple threat match. Because obviously Hideo Itami got it was a shoulder injury or something that put him out for like nearly 6 to 8 months, and they kind of done an injury angle with it. I think the way what you were talking about earlier about the situation of it felt like his Finn Balor's kind of role to get the chance at the title, it seemed a bit off. I think that's because Itami was supposed to win this. I think that's why.
I can see that.
I think that's why it was triple threat and why Tyler Breeze was in it, because it wouldn't surprise me that he would have took the pin, and it would have been because obviously, as you know, after this, sadly can't watch it because it's can't find it anywhere anymore. It's the was it Beast in the East? I think it was it live show they had in Japan.
Yeah, we still it's still here on the network and on the Peacock app.
Us UK fans have really got screwed over, haven't we? We've lost everything.
Yeah, wait, didn't they move everything over to Netflix for you, though? Shouldn't it be on Netflix?
Done a search, not on there. Nowhere to be found.
Well, I would recommend then WWE has been pretty good about putting shows that were taken off the network on YouTube, but on the WWE Vault YouTube channel. That's a nice little recommendation for all of you. If you haven't found it, a lot of content on the WWE Vault YouTube channel.
Okay, I might have to. Well, maybe if I go on that, I might be able to find all those lost 2002, 2004 SmackDown episodes that I missed dearly. That I like watching back now and then, because they disappeared when they went over. I mean, I was devastated because I watched them regularly. That sucked. But yeah, so that was supposed to be the plan. I think that's what the plan is. So that's the weird thing about this match. It's like it was a good match. Obviously, it was against Tyler Breeze, Finn Balor. Always going to have a great match, but it wouldn't surprise me if it felt like a match that felt like, okay, we've got to it's now a singles match instead of a triple threat. So they kind of had to put it together in a way. I mean, it's still good stuff. I mean, but and I kind of like the idea that Tyler Breeze is kind of like, again, his whole stick is he just can't get the job done again. Like he just like he keeps like, I think they hit like the money shot, like his finishing move, and obviously just couldn't get the job done. He just had a temper tantrum, so he resorted to cheating. And even that didn't work. So I can't like that in this match. But yeah, I don't know. I think it felt a bit off. I don't know. I just felt like it feels like a match they've just gone, oh God, he's injured. Got to put it together.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rush job because you'd like to believe that when you have 2 brilliantly athletic, strong workers like a Finn Balor and like the up-and-coming Tyler Breeze, that a little bit more effort, a little bit more thoughtfulness could have been put towards how we build this match, make it seem more important than, oh, this is just a championship match, because you know, if they were going to build up to Finn Balor versus Hideo Itami, they would build it up like, oh, this is a super fight. This is a big time match. I feel like with a little bit more effort and some cleverness, you could have done that with this match. Tyler Breeze is rising through the ranks, and here we have Finn Balor, who is proving to be the greatest psychological master in NXT history with how he intimidates with the demon. Like, there was a workaround, and They didn't necessarily find it, and that's fine because this was an enjoyable match. I'm not going to call it great because I don't want to put it at the same level that I have for Neville and Finn. That Neville Finn match is what I define as great, right? Remember I said that's how you want a sub 15-minute match to be. But I enjoyed this match. I think it was a true benefit for Tyler Breeze to work against someone like Finn, to have to adapt to his timing and things like that. I have one major pet peeve about this match, and it has nothing to do with the two wrestlers involved. This match began my vehement, deep-seated hatred for crowds just wanting to be noticed. Because the crowd constantly chanting, "Let's go Bálor, Tyler Breeze." Why? Why? Finn is obviously the one who's being pushed a certain way, and I cannot stand 50-50 in wrestling. There's got to be some momentum. I'm only speaking for me, but I need to see some momentum, something about the narrative pushing more towards, and I feel like NXT and a lot of other promotions, there's this sentiment of, oh, we're just so happy to be here and everyone's going to get cheered. And I'm just like, maybe they should have given Tyler the mic weeks leading up to this where he just really dives into how ugly Floridians are in the United States. I mean, really ugly.
That's what old school.
I'm just saying, like, having had children with your cousin, ugly. Down there in Florida. Like, if you looked at that crowd, you knew that there were extra chromosomes floating about the audience, okay?
It was old school heel heat, basically. But
I mean, yeah, exactly. What I'm doing right now, talking about Floridians, is what should have been happening,
I'm just assuming it's just basically timing. As I said before, it's like if it didn't have that injury, because obviously I think it happened, like they said, a week before. Maybe they would have had time, but maybe it's just like they thought, oh god, okay, we'll put a match together. I'm not just to point out, I'm not saying this match was bad. It wasn't. It was really, really good, but it's just that if you watch it and you sort of see that kind of like it just, you could just see they were kind of putting stuff together, and it was just because obviously. I don't know. I don't know. I just when I was watching, when you saw it, it's like, yeah, you can see they had a plan for a triple threat, but they had to kind of make it into a singles match, and it felt a bit, rushed because obviously they had to think quickly. But hey,
I think the same thing could be said of our main event because no one was accounting for Sami Zayn getting injured the way he did. So,
well, yeah, we'll get into that when we get into the main event. But obviously, next we get to go on a match that. I'm not quite sure why it's on the card, to be honest. Not in a horrible way, but I don't see the story benefit here because they didn't even show like a package to kind of show why this match is happening. So obviously, I'm talking about this strange one tag team match with Bayley teaming up with Charlotte, going against Dana Brooke and Emma. Yeah, I don't know what this. I mean, obviously, you know who the faces are, you know who the heels are, but why are they fighting?
Not based on the crowd reactions because the crowd was cheering for Emma. The crowd again. This really started my dislike for just everyone needs to be cheered. It's okay. Listen, I'm gonna say this. My favorite takes by athletes when it comes to being on the visiting side are the athletes who say, "I love being booed when I'm the visiting player." Like my favorite baseball player in history is Derek Jeter, who has on multiple occasions never shied away from the back. To him, the boos are cheers when he's at Fenway Park playing against the Boston Red Sox. That horrible squad that your Liverpool owners own. I had to bring that up because it's still a sore subject for me. And so, like, if you put a wrestler in the position of being a heel, like, boo them. How do you tell a heel they're doing a good job? By booing them. These are the things that Randy Orton coming up, he loved the boos. Why? Because it felt like validation. It was working. But if you're cheering Emma when she's supposed to be, I don't know, some awkward heel, fine.
Was she? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. To be fair, it's just. I mean,
look, this match felt shoehorned, and I asked myself the question: why is this here? Why?
I was trying to figure it out. Like, it's just like, I mean, that's basically what this match was. Basically, it's just it's a good, okay, just tag team match, where just, if you want to, it depends on what you look at it. But stuff. Yeah. I don't watch this match and go like it doesn't like it's like rubbish, bad or anything. It's just
my highlight of the match was the spot where Charlotte has locked in the figure 8, and then I think Emma's about to break it up, and Bayley slides and crawls under the figure 8 to take Emma out of the ring. Charlotte releases the figure 8, hits natural selection for the win. I'm like, okay, fine. I feel like if this match was meant to be meaningful, you have Bayley get the pinfall victory, and then you have, again, because they're playing up the whole, oh, Charlotte and Bayley, they're helping each other out. There's an alliance here. They're getting along. That's where Charlotte should have just been a total heel and knocked Bayley on her ass, and started telling her, listen, you're only in this spot because I was in the match. If I wasn't in the match, you wouldn't have been on the card at all. Like, that is what needed to happen to give this match some meaning, some zest. It had nothing.
I mean, I guess the only reason I guess he did that because I guess when they were still in that kind of phase where they said, "Oh, Charlotte looks good. We'll take Charlotte. We'll take was it Kevin? Was it possibly Kevin Owens? We'll take this. We'll take that." It's like, well, never. Like they're just like they cherry. Well, I mean, it was a developmental at the time, so it made sense in a way. But like, it felt like they kind of were like, couldn't they have just give them time to like write off their stuff before they start cherry picking them to the main roster?
Listen, buddy, I will advise you to refrain from saying Charlotte looks good, because then she'll start making statements like you tried to slide in her DMs. All right, I'm trying to save you from her current booking. Let's not do that at all. Charlotte, as a wrestler, her work, you see the growth and how she becomes a flawless in-ring worker. But this match, again, I'm going to repeat myself. It's the question, why? Why? I don't understand why this needed to be here. Maybe the whole purpose was actually to give Dana Brooke and Emma some time on a bigger produced show to see how it works. If this was an experiment, fine. But this experiment didn't yield great results. It's mid. It's just mid. And yeah. I never thought, knowing what they are now, you'd never think we'd be saying that about a Bayley and Charlotte involved match, that it's mid.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just because I haven't seen this card in a while. So I look back at the card, I was like, was it Bayley and Charlotte teaming up against? It's just they just like, oh, would it make more sense to not have them two at all and just have Bayley and like if Charlotte and was it still going to be in the NXT? Would it make sense to be another number one? This could be a number one contendership match.
I mean, eventually Charlotte's going to get a title opportunity right before she makes her full-time transition to the main roster. This would have been the perfect time to, again, start putting Bayley down. I don't think I would have necessarily had Sasha be the eventual person who gives Charlotte her walking papers from NXT, but I think that would have benefited Bayley more to be the conquering hero who vanquished Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're using the idea that this wasn't. It was if I knew the story, but unfortunately they didn't. They had so little effort into this match. They didn't even put a promo package to tell us why. So let's go on to another interesting, very interesting match with obviously, was it Baron Corbin going against Rhyno? It's kind of interesting seeing Rhyno in NXT. I've got to be honest, and interesting thing about this match is like the crowd really wanted. I think they wanted Rhyno to win more than Baron Corbin in this match.
Of course they did. Listen, Rhino is one of those talents where, for his size, because of his size, his work always looks super unique, right? Because he's a guy with no neck and these broad shoulders, but he's also not super tall. So he's kind of like this little muscly man. He's like one solid muscle that moves around. And yet his arms also don't fit his body because his trunk is big, but his arms are a little bit thinner than his trunk. It's an interesting dynamic, but he's over because he's interesting. And because at that point, fans loved him. He was kind of grandfathered in from the Attitude Era of like, and from his ECW run where people love him. And Paul Heyman's iconic calling of the gore, 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 right? Rhino was presented, by this point enough where he's important. And that's why it was a brilliant move to pit him against Baron Corbin. Was the match gonna, set the world on fire? No, but it didn't have to. This match is about putting Baron Corbin in the same stratosphere as a respected pro. I'm not talking about a wrestler. I'm talking about a pro. A pro's pro who knows the psychology and inner workings of a match and how to get a young talent over. And for those people who have not realized that Rhino has been doing that practically the last decade in TNA, right? Just getting young talent over. He understands. And I thought this was I keep saying brilliant. This was an excellent pickup for NXT. You need that kind of veteran leadership. I think if this was an era of NXT where they were bringing in Rhino and maybe Lance Storm had felt that he had a couple more years left in the tank, right? You want veteran guys who know how to get other people over while not losing their appeal because they're already beloved. And I enjoyed this match. It was straightforward. Was it cookie cutter? Was it paint by numbers? You bet your ass it was, but I don't mind painting by numbers sometimes. And listen, clothesline spot, big slam spot. Rhino, get that belly to belly. Everything they did worked. And it finally got Baron Corbin out of that, quick squash match territory. Because this presents to the audience, what is it going to take for Baron Corbin to get slowed down? Oh, someone who knows how to wrestle within the confines, again, of pro wrestling. Someone who is that wily vet. Someone who knows how to use their power and speed in a certain way. That was it. The young lion felt the challenge of a grizzled veteran lion, and the young lion still succeeded. That's all this match was.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, to be fair, watching this match makes you think if he was just around about the time of the last takeover, maybe he could have been that opponent in that interesting deep no GQ match, and maybe it would have maybe worked a little bit better.
By the way, what a sad realization I've just had now that Bull Dempsey looks like the Temu version of Rhino. What a sad Bull Dempsey looks like the product made in a second-hand workshop compared to Rhino, who's like 20 years his elder. Good Lord.
I mean, to be fair, it's kind of funny when obviously I think one of the first episodes we did together, like I think after one of the Bull Dempsey squash matches, it was like they're trying to make him like a they were trying to make him like a new Rhino, and it's like when you think about it, it's like like I remember you like completely shut me down with that one.
Could you imagine if Triple H saw that no DQ match and went, I guess I just got to get the real Rhino. The only way I'm going to make this work is if I get the real Rhino. I tried to make one in the lab. It didn't work. Like, that's what happened here.
It's like, sorry, okay, you know what? Oh, okay. Oh, damn it. Okay, give me the phone call. I'll go and get one.
Yeah, I know this is going to severely hurt my prospects of going to one of my buddies. I have a friend, contributor to the Pro Wrestling Melee game show, Jimmy J, and he hosts a lot of watch parties in the New York City area. And usually, as I've mentioned before, Bull Dempsey, I believe he goes by Bull James now, he's a friend of a friend, and so I don't think I'll be welcome to those for quite some time if he ever catches wind of the amount of shit I've talked. But that's okay.
Fair enough. But yeah, I like this match. I mean, it was you see the crowd were kind of into it. Obviously, the kind of finish was pretty cool. Try for the goal that everyone wanted. Clothesline at the end of the days gets the win. I think it's like 7-minute match. He said done the kind of job it wanted.
Just over 7 minutes, yeah. But this also felt like it should have been the main event of a highly touted regular NXT event.
I could, yeah. I gotta be honest. When you think of like the kind of crowd, like, is this a match that you would want? It seems like a match you would put like in his when he was in his undefeated streak, because then it would give a bit more legitimacy. Like instead of going like he's beating all these kind of squat jobbers, and then all of a sudden he's just beating a former ECW was ECW champion, like in that run. But I guess if you can't, well, I guess in the time they couldn't hire him. But if they had a choice at the time, maybe you could have had it maybe shoehorned in that part when he was unbeaten, undefeated. But
it would have been better. Instead, we got a Bull Dempsey no DQ match out of it, and
with a possible chair shot that turned into nothing and it ended in 4 minutes. It was I don't like to be bitter, but yeah, that match annoyed me a lot. really annoyed me.
Well, here was your palate cleanser, and done and executed the way I believe Triple H would have wanted it executed. We had to wait a while, but we got there.
Yeah, but anyway, that's obviously before the match that I know you're looking forward to the most talking about. I know for a fact you are. Yes, he's before. Yeah. He says, but he don't let that fool you. He's not doing that. Before we recorded, he was talking about it all the time. He's loving it.
Yeah, I was heaping glowing praise on it.
Well, obviously before getting the match quickly, obviously we had the interview. I found a bit funny with interviewing Kevin Owens. I kind of found quite funny when he kind of went, "What was it? I don't mean to interrupt you, but you did it anyway."
But you did it. See, but we laugh at it, but we all know we have a friend who would deliver it exactly the same way. It's a certain intellect, it's a certain timing and way of delivery. Those are Kevin Owens' best strengths. Not his desire to jump off of anything. It's the fact that he has such a strong mind for conversation and how he needs to look. Yeah, no, I also laughed at that. It was a wonderful moment.
Yeah, I mean, it probably enhanced it more. That obviously, I guess in the view, was it Chris Van Vliet interview with Chris? Was it Kevin Owens? But I was watching bits of that before. Obviously, watched this match, and I was like, now it makes me just fall in love with Kevin Owens even more because
he has a quick whip. He has a sharp tongue, and it has served him well. And this is why my biggest gripe with him is all of the unnecessary risks he's taken with his body, because he could have easily talked people into caring about his matches without having to kill himself. He's that good and that witty. He didn't actually need to wreck his body the way he has. But again, if that's his art and that's how he wants to be remembered, I'm not going to put it down. And obviously, I'm trying to stall before I talk about the pig-tailed nonsense that we're about. Okay, I'm just going to get into it. Okay, so match number 5 on the card. No, match number 4. My bad. Match number 4. Blake and Murphy defending their NXT Tag Team Championships against Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore with Carmella now. So at least now visually there's something not distasteful about the whole package there, because Carmella's there. I could not get over the stupid pigtails that Blake had. The minute he came out, I was hoping for the light fixtures to fall down on him.
Jesus. Wow.
I was overcome by rage because he already has. Look, I have been told I look like a Goomba from the Mario games, the little brown guys you step on. I could see it. I can see it. I make jokes with my son's school friends that I'm a walking, talking Mr. Potato Head. I'm okay. Anyone who ever meets me in person, I'm built like a Lego man. A head put on a square body with appendages coming out, and I'm good with that. But Blake has a goofy, dumb-looking face, and then when you add the pigtails on, this is exactly what I would like submit to an old court, like why we need to bring back beheadings.
Jesus. Wow.
He looks so stupid. And I'm there feeling so much sadness for Buddy Murphy. I'm like, you have to carry this talentless hack who now looks like he is. Oh, I'm really holding back because your brand. I don't want to besmirch your brand, but I have a lot more toxicity coursing through my veins right now, like Hulkamania here. I'm gonna leave it at that.
I mean, put it out this way though. I mean, they weren't a team for long, so I mean,
I know, but see, when I hate, it is a pure absolute hate that never goes away, and so I'm gonna just calm myself down a bit, but I'll also transfer some of it over. Enzo Amore, I'll give him credit. You see him, you can tell the whole intro to the audience. They love the back and forth. They love repeating what he's doing. In hindsight, how lame is it that you're introducing your partner who's the actual wrestler and all you have to say is that he's 7 feet tall?
I mean, obviously, and also the situation with the one with Carmella is she's just hard as hell, and you can't tease that. It's like, okay.
Well, let's not get overboard.
I mean, one thing.
Overboard.
Well, one thing that's quite funny, I found quite funny, I didn't pick up on it, is Corey Graves. Was it? I saw on the commentary. I found hilarious when he's just like, "Oh, Carmella's, she's great," but everybody else is like, "Oh, so even back in 2015." Back in 2015.
Oh yeah, even back in 2015, he was planning to commit adultery and find his next wife. The evil is still here coursing through my veins. Oh yes.
Oh Jesus! But I just Jesus, I
just
saw that.
You introduced it too. Listen, you opened the door. I walked through it.
Well, I had to say something because when I was watching it, he pointed. It's just the way he said it. I was like, oh, even back then. Okay.
Look, you also saved me from going into a soliloquy about how Colin Cassidy's not actually 6 feet tall. He's 6'10". Because again, I went to college with him.
I guess it just doesn't rhyme.
Yeah, no, and he's 6'10", and you're like, well, you kind of can teach 6'10". There are a lot of basketball players in the world, which he was. He was on the New York University basketball team. Big man on campus, right? Whatever. I will say, so here's a bit of praise. I know you weren't expecting this. These two teams had far better chemistry than the Lucha Dragons had with Blake and Murphy.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Having said that, to me, this match is all about the glaring weakness that is Blake in the ring. Because no, I'm sorry. Look, they did moves. There was back and forth action. You get exactly what you expect out of Big Cass. Big boots, slams. You get Enzo bumping like the I always called him the Energizer Bunny on cocaine. That's what Enzo Amore is, and that's what he looks like ping-ponging around this ring. There's only one actual pro wrestler in this match, and it's Buddy Murphy. And he is having to carry the only man to be 15 of John Cena's Make-A-Wish visits in Blake. That is what Blake is to me. He's a guy who somehow got John Cena to visit him 15 times through Make-A-Wish. Okay? Wow. He's that terrible in the ring. His presence. Look, I am not. I have said this. I am not the physical 6'2" specimen that our friend Josh is. He is like a Bond villain personified. Okay? The way he can carry himself, he can pull it off. What I am, though, is that 5'8" presence where you're just constantly aware that something crazy might happen because I'm there. Okay? I know how to be within myself and exist in an environment, and Blake does not know how to do that. He does not know how to be visible. He is like wallpaper in this match. And an ugly wallpaper, a wallpaper from the 1940s that needs to be stripped down and burned.
Jesus, I've never heard so much. Wow, I don't know how to respond to that. Jesus Christ, but I guess the only thing to maybe finish this match as quickly as possible talking about it is we must talk about that finish.
Yes. Thankfully, Alexa Bliss comes to save this match. Yeah, she comes weird, right? in. Well, you know what's weird to me? Here's what's weird to me. It has not yet been established that Carmella is Big Cass's girlfriend, right? Why, if you are Big Cass in the middle of a title match, okay, you see Carmella get jumped, but by another woman, right? What is Cass supposed to do to defend her honor against Alexa Bliss?
That's why what I was thinking.
Out of the ring at all? Yeah,
finish the match, win the titles,
and match. Buddy Murphy's selling outside the ring. What am I missing here?
I mean, what even makes it worse is basically he tagged in Enzo, the person that's basically on the floor, like collapsed, and then basically tagged him in, and then he got distracted. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's just like I saw that it's like he's forgot about it's a title match, and then obviously they done like a cover. Was it tripped Enzo and got the win, but like off the top, but like it's just.
By the way, hell of a sell job by Enzo, right? Alexa doesn't necessarily get the kind of shove on Enzo where you go, oh wow, she really screwed him. No, Enzo, the way he crumples onto the top turnbuckle and then just flops over onto the mat, you go, oh shit, he can sell. Enzo Amore's destiny in wrestling was to get murdered in the ring and people go, wow, he died. And that's okay. Enzo Amore could have been the American Possum of pro wrestling. He could have been the roadkill of pro wrestling that people would enjoy to see. Have you watched South Park, my friend?
Not recently, but I know South Park, of course.
Enzo Amore could have been the Kenny of WWE program.
Oh my God, they killed Enzo.
There you go. So you have the Kenny of WWE right there, bumping like crazy, selling an Alexa Bliss like little shove like death. And then you have the hemorrhoid of NXT, Blake, with his stupid looking face and hair, walking out of there with the tag titles because of what it is. Whatever. I say whatever.
But yeah, so they're still champions, obviously, and I don't know more to say about this match. I mean, just we're finished. Obviously, Alexa was it teaming with Blake and Murphy for a while, and obviously we all know she done her best work when she went up to the main roster and became. Obviously, it was stuff on SmackDown, so we know that. So, but yeah, I get it. I think it's fun. Again, it's like chemistry was all right. It was a good match in a way. The finish was weird, but kind of just to sell quite well. But yeah, But if it makes you feel a little bit better, that basically, I think when we talk about the next takeover, certain things may happen. So maybe that might
things do happen.
So maybe that might, cheer you up and maybe feel a bit less daunting about this match. But we all know this is. You don't have to lie to us. We all know that this is probably your top 5 matches of all time. I know for a fact.
Oh, ew, ew, ew. It would have been top 5 if a light fixture had fallen on Blake. I'll say that.
Anyway,
you give me that, and I'm like, okay, we're good.
but it didn't. So I guess it.
Well, geez, thanks for ripping out my daydream. First, you tell me I can't manifest Stephanie Vacour wherever I want. Now you tell me that I can't time travel in my mind, hoping that the ceiling falls on Blake.
All you have
It's
to
true
do.
what they say. It's true what they say. When you're a man and if you want support, you're gonna have to go get a bra. See what I did there? All right.
Just, I mean, to be fair, you could just invent time travel. I mean,
You don't want me inventing time travel. Because I mean, okay, no, maybe some people do, because I'm saving Eddie Guerrero. I'm pushing other people into traffic. You know what? Maybe I should be entrusted with time travel. I
rules.
like the cut of your jib, my friend.
Yeah, but there's rules, man. We can't. There's the set rules we've been brought up with many time travel
No,
shenanigans.
no. I'm creating many branches and many different timelines. If you let me, if you let me time travel,
Well, the
I am
TV.
fucking up the balance.
Well, TVA will be all over you then.
That's fine. That's fine. I can live with that. I'll just change time on them. See, nobody thought about that.
Or you could just.
But
anyway, we're getting distracted.
One thing I wouldn't change is the next match we're going to talk about. And it's not that by any means it's an amazing match. I think for me personally, it's an important match for Becky Lynch. Because up until this point, she kind of looked just like foliage around. She's around. And oh yeah, she main evented with the other three more prominent talents at the time. But knowing who Becky Lynch is now, I look at this match and I go, this match was necessary to try and establish her as a credible contender. Right?
Yeah.
It was meant to accomplish two things. We're going to give Sasha, obviously we're going to extend her title run with a worthy challenger, right? Because Becky is no slouch in the ring. People can poke a lot of different holes in any wrestler's game. You're not going to say Becky's not a great in-ring talent. There's no way you're going to get away with saying that. She knows how to work and she does it at an elite level. So that's why I enjoyed this match for what it was. Longest match on the card. And I had no problem with it because I respected Becky. Even at the time, I respected Becky Lynch and what she was able, again, to eventually become.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think last episode we were talking about. I felt so like maybe for me, maybe that fatal 4-way match. It was like that's when I saw Becky Lynch and went, oh, she's like, wow, she's really good in the ring. But maybe this was
sure.
the match.
That's why you went, oh, sure, you sly devil, you. That's why you went, oh.
Don't try that. Don't try that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but this trying to get me into trouble, isn't he? Trying to get me into trouble.
Worried that Seth's gonna come and curb stomp you, my friend? Don't worry, his knees are brittle.
It's fine. He doesn't. The good thing is that the UK tour's over now, so he's all the way over there, so he can't come fight.
Oh, great! He's my problem again. Thanks.
Well, what can I say? Anyway, but maybe this was the match that maybe a lot of people went, oh, Becky Lynch. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have to admit, I do like this idea that they're both submission specialists in a way, and I like this match where they're both going for the arm. Becky went for it first, but then obviously Sasha went for start working on the arm as well. But yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It was just one of these matches is just like out of all the matches we've watched, obviously through this card so far, it's like this is the one that actually felt like it was actually kind of planned or kind of like it's supposed to be on.
Yep.
The other ones felt
happened the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, there's no injuries. There's no someone being called up. There's no nothing on other matches. Try something different. It's like this one's just like, yeah, this is just a match that they've been building up, and they had a match, and it was really good. And everything else felt a bit like, I don't know what, like just kind of testing stuff out. But yeah, this seems like the only one that they went,
if I may, I would pose that this card overall felt like your mom is going to make stew, not to make a pun on your name, but make stew out of like leftovers. Some really delicious leftovers, but make stew overall. That's what this card was. Another thing I really like about this match, or I would have hoped would have come out of this match, is I wish Sasha and Becky would have had more opportunities to work against one another so that we could tether it back to this match and go, these two have been at it for quite some time, and we've seen, Sasha's growth to the standard of being a megastar, right? Her presentation, and Becky's growth to being the man with grit and determination. You kind of see hints about this. The one thing I've noticed, and my personal favorite thing about Becky Lynch's growth from this match to where she, becomes who she is today, you can definitely see her work is a little bit more eager than it is, right? Everything she's doing in an NXT ring, it's like she's almost on the verge of being manic, like, oh, I got to grab this hold. And she's showing so much energy, and I really appreciate how she's matured to being a more calm, methodical wrestler. And you get a lot of that in this match, though, because Becky is so high energy. It's like, wait, did you borrow some cocaine from Enzo? What's happening here, Becky? Calm it down. But look, I think they had a great feel for one another in the ring. Both of them get their offense in. You said they worked holds. I think Becky sold really well for Sasha. If I'm not mistaken, the finish was just a clean backstabber into the bank statement, right?
Yeah, she tapped out, yeah.
Yeah, and yet Becky sold that bank statement pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, she resisted. Was it? I like that bit. Was like she's resisting the as you should be with a submission hold. It's like you don't want to, and then then you tap.
Well, I feel like the people who sell submissions the best are submission-based wrestlers themselves, because they know it's like, I have to show a struggle here. So
it's kind of true, actually. But yeah, I mean, it did, because obviously you had that nice moment at the end when obviously Sasha Banks went, and obviously Becky Lynch got up in the crowd. Like if it, as you said before, if the job was to get Becky Lynch over, and for people, it worked. It was perfect. So, but yeah, so obviously did they ever have obviously my memory's quite vague in this one, but did they have like a proper on the main roster? Did they have a proper feud, or was it more like involved with Triple H?
I believe they had a very short one-on-one program with one another, and that was towards the end of Sasha's run on the main roster. I'm just doing a little fact checking here. Yeah, I mean, their work culminated in a Hell in a Cell match in 2019. Like, that was the pinnacle of them going against one another.
So they never really had like a proper one-on-one kind of program.
Really. They program, not really, but they have feuded. Yeah, but nothing to the extent, like, they had matches at Clash of Champions, but nothing to the extent of like something memorable. And we know that Becky's most memorable work was really against Charlotte, and the same could be said against Sasha, unless if we take it in totality, it's Sasha and Bayley, right? Sasha and Bayley are essentially the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for their respective division.
Oh yeah, by far. Man.
You see how I set up our final match? How I did it!
It's ironic. It's like you do this a lot, and you're quite good at it. Very good at setting up things like.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you sure you don't want to swap? Do a proper takeover?
No. I actually like being the sidekick on this show. It gives me a break. Usually I have to run my own goddamn shows, so it's nice to not have to be the lead dog for once.
Yeah, I have to admit, it is kind of nice sometimes when I do other podcasts. It's always nice. Like I'm not the guy in charge. I could just kind of just not say much and then put an opinion when I want.
Yeah, and it gives you full plausible deniability when your buddies are talking trash about my Man City team, and you're just there in the background. Like, you're just doing nothing as they besmirch my squad.
Maybe we need to get a video response and get it on the next episode. Maybe she's just like
your friend's just wondering, who is this American yelling at us? Do all Americans just yell and spread dislike and discord? Yes. No, I'm kidding.
But anyway, yeah. So yes, let's talk about. Obviously, it's nice to just the settle plug there was just a minute ago. Was it the main event? Was it for the NXT Championship? Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn 2, and it's interesting because obviously how it ended and how there's this very strange, interesting ending. Never kind of basically similar to the match before, but pretty much in a different way and sort of. But what I found interesting about this match is the idea that in the first one, Kevin Owens basically dominated most of the match. But I like the idea in this match that basically Kevin Owens just couldn't get. I feel like Sami Zayn was just more. Was it more focused or just more? He was
motivated.
Yeah, because he seems like he was more in control of this match more than KO. It's like literally, he was like most of the time when you think KO was going to get control, Sami Zayn came back, and it kind of and I kind of like the idea that basically the reason that it can't. I like the kind of finish a lot is because that pop up powerbomb wasn't a sort of like he's in control. It was more of a desperation one because he's probably on the verge of losing that title. So he hit that pop up powerbomb on the apron because he basically was like he was in trouble.
Yeah, that was Kevin Owens' wild card in this match. He needed the breakneck move to save himself because this was Sami Zayn. Again, the way Sami lost, this is the perfect way to carry that momentum over. Sami loses by getting completely dominated. Sami then comes back as the absolute best version of himself, ready for a fight that we've seen, and yet tragedy befalls our hero because Sami is giving every bit of payback back to Kevin Owens with punches, with kicks, exploder suplexes. He is hitting everything with righteous fury. And then the one thing out of his control, the stability of his shoulder, is why he is unable to get the job done here. And like a beautiful opportunity right there, yours for the taking, right in front of him, it got snatched away because his body failed him. How brilliant.
I know. It's a perfect example of a match that kind of it doesn't need a traditional finish to kind of work, in a sense. I mean, what I liked about this is obviously when they never announced it the match was over. They never really made any kind of like, ring the bell and stuff like that. It was just hit the pop-up powerbomb on the apron and then it just ended with obviously all the refs. KO just wanted to basically, as he said in that promo earlier in the night, he's going to finish it. So, trying to, take him out. But I have to admit, you could say a culmination of that little mini feud he's had with Rhyno Regal ever since he hit that first one. I like that. I kind of like that bit when it's just like Rhyno Regal's kind of like, yeah, how do you stop it? And he just headbutts him. And it's just like, if only he still wrestled, you're telling me that wouldn't become a match at some point. But I just like that. It's just like there was a mini feud between him and Rhyno Regal, and it kind of could say ended or culminated in that kind of moment where he headbutted him.
Well, I think it came to a fever pitch in that moment because now he's given William Regal ample motivation to like ruin his life. And lo and behold, who pops up next? Then someone who would eventually be William Regal's defender, like a year or two away in NXT. If you remember that, Samoa Joe ends up being the guy who defends William Regal in a lot of situations. And here he comes, Godzilla himself. He just marches his way down to the ring.
I think what I find interesting about this is like when he turned up, it's like similar to what they did with the Sami Zayn thing when KO turned. It was like they were stretching it out just a bit because not any ending of that match, it would have been he kept attacking him after the match, and then when he's when he's on the floor, and then just eventually so they're pulling back enough that he goes. But then he brought him in the ring. You kind of knew, okay, they're stretching this out so a certain someone can debut. But yeah, what I found interesting is like I think they played the music and everyone was like, oh, what's this? And then I'm glad they changed the music because I have to admit that first iteration of his music for Samoa Joe, of course,
It needed to
great.
evolve. No, it wasn't.
Even back then when I was watching, I was like, I was just like, 'cause I was just listening, going, really? That's what the best you got? Come on, guys. I mean, they got a better. Obviously, he got a better version than he did. But
this is what happens when you let Jim Johnston go. Okay, when you let go the greatest wrestling theme maker of all time, and you start, hiring different younger talents, you kind of lose the plot because Jim Johnston, when prepared, he always hits on these entrance themes. CFOs, they needed to grow a little bit to start hitting on these things.
Was it what you could say? What 2016 was probably when they hit there, like when they were starting to, they finally figured it out.
Sure. Yes.
So my favorite, I think, was it so 2016, 2017. It was very hard to find a put. They were actually hitting great themes at that point. I'm sure.
That's a good point. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just funny because I think that even the crowd will think it's like the first like because of the it doesn't downplay the kind of bigger thing of Samoa Joe's in NXT. It's just the idea. It's just like all that momentum. Like, oh my god! Then it's just like the music, and everyone's like, oh, like it kind of the momentum went down a little bit. So like, and it kind of, and then he also came in. Obviously, KO had nothing to do with it, and he walked off, and then it just ended with Samoa Joe is in an NXT ring, and we all know what happens there. But I would ask a question. I thought myself again, like, what we got that match right? Like, was it? But yeah, I don't know. It felt it was like it's supposed to be a bigger moment. It just felt a bit not off, but just I think it just didn't. It's not as didn't hit as much as like you would think.
It doesn't hit because again they weren't given an opportunity to really work with one another long enough. Like we needed them to. They're masters at their craft. We want them to have a long enough program where they can promo each other and do backstage attacks and things that matter. And they don't really get that, KO and Samoa Joe. And it's fine. KO was not meant to be Samoa Joe's main rival in NXT. We know that essentially is Finn Bálor and Shinsuke. Though those are his two guys, which, look, it's fine. It's fine. For me, if I was there, I would be looking at the crowd. Wait a minute. You lost your freaking minds for Rhyno, but you're not like frothing at the mouth that Samoa Joe is here. Where are the priorities, people? Because that's still Samoa Joe, one of the absolute best wrestlers of the last 25 years. And I'm talking about something that was 10 years ago.
I mean, would you sit there and put in a situation that did they shoehorn this in? Like it wasn't supposed to be planned to put them in to debut here, or?
Yes, just like the leftover stew I was talking about. There was no plan for this takeover. They just took ingredients, they threw it in there. They're like, I hope the lasagna mixed well with the pot roast and the shepherd's pie leftovers. There was no concerted thought. But this show is only good. It's only non-offensive to the eyes and the mind because of the level of talent on the card. They saved errant booking. The respectable, really entertaining wrestlers on this card saved what could have been a dumpster fire. Okay? So I'm fine with it.
Okay. I mean, so yeah, I don't know. With that analogy, it kind of explains it pretty much in a nutshell, doesn't it? That's pretty much what this takeover is. Just someone a lot of moving parts, and they're just trying to put it the best they could, and I think what I like about what the next takeover is they kind of figured out how to, if they're going to call people up, they found a better way to kind of write them off instead of just going like, hey guys, I know you got a pay-per-view in a week, but we're taking this wrestler and this wrestler and this wrestler. Like, you got to wipe them out in some way. But this was a perfect example of how NXT could have been if they didn't figure that out. It could have just been good 3 months of television, and all of a sudden you take their best wrestlers, then it would have fallen off a bit. But yeah, I mean, it's always good to see Samoa Joe in any, like, was it in any situation, isn't it? Like any wrestling ring or anything like that. So
you talk about all the call-ups that they've done, and yet you still get the sense they haven't fully mastered it with how they've handled Roxanne Perez. Hey, we're going to have you be in Elimination Chamber. Now go work NXT for like 2 more months, and then after WrestleMania, we'll bring you back. It's still very tricky. They're still struggling with it. And this is why I don't get why they fully announce when talents come on the main roster. What they should say is, listen, here in WWE, our talents in NXT at any point can decide whether they want to explore opportunities on the other brands. That way, nobody feels like, oh, Braun Breaker has debuted on SmackDown. 2 months later, Braun Breaker's been drafted to Raw. What is the point? I still don't think Triple H has figured out the formula for how to do these call-ups the right way.
isn't that what that transfer window was? They tried.
No, the transfer window was, I'm unhappy here on SmackDown because the Bloodline keeps kicking my ass. I'm going over to Raw. And on Raw, I'm unhappy that the Judgment Day is kicking my ass. I'm going over to SmackDown. Okay? That is what that goddamn transfer window was, and you know it.
I'm trying to find creative solutions to make it, to maybe in the future make it work. But if you have some sort of mechanism to make it work, like that's all that really needs.
You have to let me crack time travel.
Oof. Well, you can try, but maybe it's like a situation. You're the villain and I'm the hero. So like if you do, I have to go back in time and stop you. Maybe that's what it is.
Or I'm the villain and you're the lovable accomplice. Why does everyone think so linearly in black and white, hero and villain? What about villain and accomplice? That's a movie I want to see. Show me a villain and his buddy doing some shit and getting away with it. No one ever thinks that way. It upsets me.
Well, because you have to have it would only work if the lovable was a psychic will eventually would turn on the villain, and then it becomes
Listen, every villain is the hero of their own story.
True. If I can
there
think
we
of
go. So come on now.
Anyway, but yes, let's just quickly wrap this up. Obviously, this is NXT Takeover. Was it Unstoppable? Yeah, obviously, we'll just put a quick thing, I guess, and we'll put this as a rating of good or just okay.
I'm gonna put okay. It could have been a hell of a lot worse if it wasn't saved by, again, the talents presented here. So it's okay. And being okay, look, if you've seen the movie Monsters University, it's okay to be okay. Okay?
It's true.
And we'll leave it at that.
Well, if it makes it further better, obviously after this, when we go into next episode, we're talking to another one that's going to be.
We're going to Brooklyn!
I think they're back on form in the next one. I think so. It's going to be we're back on early now, so it's going to be fun. But
dude, we're going to be talking about Jushin Thunder Liger. Come on, how do you not get excited for that?
How the hell they got that? Oh, I can't wait to talk about that. Actually, I just remember that. Yeah,
they got away with it because they promised him a Hall of Fame induction. It's very simple. Hey, you want to be in the Hall of Fame? Yeah. Work one NXT match, one. And you're good.
Wow. Can't wait to watch that. It sounds silly. I actually totally forgot about that. But it shows that it's been a long time.
We've been praising Tyler Breeze for 3 episodes now, and then you're going to forget his biggest takeover match is with a legend.
What can I say? I've just got the worst memory, and I'm just a terrible human being for forgetting everything. What can I say?
Not a terrible human being. It's fine. But if you would permit, I know this is your show, but I seldom get a chance to close it out, and I would like to, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everyone, Thank you for supporting the Stuart Irvine NXT Rewind program here. You're watching on YouTube, you're listening on Spotify. You can always find amazing commentary, whether it be sports, literature, entertainment, pro wrestling, here on the Stuart Irvine YouTube channel. You can find Stu's socials in the description below. You can find me on the Pro Wrestling Melee Game Show YouTube channel. And we cannot wait to come back next week where we will cover NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1, because there were 3 of them, and with a little bit of us covering the NXT World Championship match between Kevin Owens and Finn Bálor from Beast in the East, a network special. And until then, we bid you a wonderful week. Take care, everyone. Adieu.